All right, y'all. Welcome. Jeez, that's almost tripped. Welcome back to Hoodie Fish. How the fuck y'all doing? Did y'all enjoy the game? I hope you did. Them niggas won. It wasn't the most action-packed event to where there's like some specific narrative I had to fucking rush on camera to do or some shit. But it was definitely a heavily contested game. It was interesting and it held my attention the entire time. I didn't fucking fall asleep, which I feel like is super fucking important. But you know, there wasn't one thing where I'm like coming away like, oh, and this happened, and oh, you had to see that. Like there was no shenanigans, there was no nonsense afoot or anything like that. I mean, the refs were on their typical bullshit, but there was nothing like out of pocket that happened that I feel like we need to like super address or some shit like that. But I know Nia Coffey went the fuck off. She had some pretty aggressive defensive standout moments. As a matter of fact, the whole team had a lot of moments where on defense everyone was individually, showing the fuck out. Ryan Howard obviously did her thing. Cheyenne Parker had some defensive moments that were rather impressive. And seeing as though she's been getting cooked as of late, it's very good to see her go out there on the defensive end and handle her fucking business. We've definitely needed the help on the interior. Nia Coffey is just in a different fucking world right now in terms of her defense. Obviously the offense is being harped on right now and we don't want to forget about that, but her defense is out of this fucking world. Ari, I assume, played well defensively. I wasn't really paying attention to her that much. I know she played a shit ton of minutes, and the way it's looking, I feel like that motherfucker's gonna start again. I mean, the way they are fucking positioning her and the way that she's closing games and we're seeing less and less of Robinson and less of Haley, I feel like that motherfucker's gonna start. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as we're winning, I don't give a fuck who's out there. Just as long as we are winning, I will absolutely take it. Has a pulse offensively, I assume defensively. Again, I'm not really paying attention to what the fuck she's doing on the defensive end, but I'm assuming it is there because I keep hearing them say amazing things about her on commentary. And the like push to like make her like a key piece of the franchise is very interesting. Like when they show like the like intro promo package, there's like a slide for Ari, and I'm like, the fuck? And like the way there was a part in the game, I think like halfway through the third quarter, where they were speaking about individuals who were on the court who had that certain energy to where if they get ticked off or whatever, they're going to play really fucking well or something. Ryan Howard got named, Brittany Sykes got named, Powers got named and all that shit. And then all of a sudden I just hear fucking Ari and I'm just like, nigga, what? But again, as long as she's doing her fucking job, I'm here for it. I just think that somewhere there's like a video about the framing of Ari and where this shit is coming from, but there's definitely a case to be made or whatever. I feel like the Dream are trying to push forward that we have a big four and like Ari is a part of that, and I'm just not sure where the fuck that energy is coming from. But I think she played fine, and I don't have anything negative to say about her today. She did her fucking job, and that's all I fucking asked for. I do think that in terms of who it was that we were playing, I know in the standings we're close to each other, and every time that we play them this year in particular, because last year was a one-sided bloodbath, but this year in particular, it seems like these are very closely contested games, and they're like right under us in terms of the standings. So I'm not really sure how the brackets work in the WNBA when you get over to the playoffs. I'm not quite sure. Maybe this is a first round matchup. I'm not really sure. Don't really know how it works because we haven't been a part of the playoffs, so there hasn't really been much for me to pay attention to. But that's not here or there. But who knows? This would be an interesting first round matchup if that's how the bracket system works. I'm not quite sure. I need to look into that. But the main thing I wanted to point out with that specifically is that I feel like there is a severe skill gap when you go like from under us. Like on top of us, you've got, Dallas, you've got, who else? Connecticut, you've got the Liberty, and then you've got Vegas. And I feel like those four teams above us are obviously on that like upper tier. And I think we are like knocking on the door of being in that conversation of literal upper tier teams. But I don't know if we're there yet, because I don't think we can like consistently beat Dallas enough to be able to say, fuck them niggas, we got it. We definitely can't say that about Connecticut. And while we're tied 2-2 with the goddamn Liberty after they played last game, I don't know if I would even put us in that conversation. And obviously the A's are going to fuck us up. We beat them last year, though, so who knows? Maybe we're like on a different type of high right now. I don't know. But I feel like there is a clear talent gap in terms of teams that can fuck with us and teams that can't. Everyone under us, like your Lynx and, Washington and shit like that, I am not afraid of them. I don't fear them. I don't worry about them. I don't fucking think about them in the fucking slightest. There's no one else outside of the 4 teams above us that gives me any cause for pause. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Like, none of them niggas have me shook. I don't think about them. Like, not even when I see them on the schedule, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they were even in the fucking league. Like, you know what I mean? So I think we're in such an interesting place to where there is a clear 4 teams ahead of us. So we're like in that middle pack tier. And in terms of just being competitive and getting our shit off, I don't see what's wrong with that. I think there are clear issues that need to be addressed through coach. Again, if Ari's going to do her fucking job, there are things that can be addressed with coaching. And especially since when it comes to like the downhill shit and making sure niggas get involved in shit, when there's like a fast break and all that, you kind of leave that up to Allisha Gray, who again was carrying once again. Is it Allisha? Am I saying her name wrong? It might be. But in terms of that aspect of being carried on the team and somebody executing the options that we run on the fast break, which our strategy every game seems to be just run as fast as you can down the fucking court and get the first thing you see. So with Allisha Gray really running that, it doesn't really matter what Ari does as long as she plays defense and shit. So, I guess we'll take it. So personally, I feel like a lot of these things kind of lean towards coaching. And I think there are some things that can be changed. Number one is running a fucking offense. I think Coach Wright has this idea that it's some like new hybrid scheme that's like the new trend of the NBA of there's no structure, you just run options. NBA, WNBA, well, basketball in general, I feel like she just has this like mentality of like this is like some new shit or whatever. Like we kind of like had this conversation in the past or whatever, but I really feel like she thinks she's out there like reinventing the wheel type shit. And I just think not having a plan is not a plan. Like, it's not like with art where it's like subjective or whatever, where it's like you put like 2 literal pieces of trash together and it's like, so minimalistic. Right? Like we're not on our fucking Andy Warhol and like painting a Campbell's soup can and saying, oh, art for the sake of art. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're not getting that shit off here. Like this is very much something that can be measured. It's tangible and there's clear results that come from it. And I just feel like where we're at right now is presently constructed. I think just the talent of the team and what we're doing and the chemistry and the get after it mentality or whatever, your old school early 2010s Memphis Grizzlies grit and grind type mentality, I think that's good enough to be a middle of the pack team. And that's what the fuck we are. Now that is significantly better than what we've been in the past, at least the last 2 years. So I will absolutely take that shit. And I believe currently we're like at our current total of wins from last year at 14. So we've obviously improved as long as we don't fall off the face of a fucking cliff. We've obviously improved in that department tremendously. So, I'll take it, as I used to say in every fucking video, like I'm here for it. I can't, maybe it's just the perfectionist in me, but I can't help but notice that there are clear issues that are preventing us from getting to that higher place. But I feel like what I'm supposed to do as a responsible fan is just be happy for what we have. Because the jump from last year to this year has been crazy. Even though win total, it's the same. But the vibes are better. The vibes are crazier. The vibes are immaculate, right? So I'm going to just be happy that we're playing better, and it's almost a guarantee that we're making the playoffs. I will just enjoy that. I will just be happy about that, and we will trust the process and hope for the best. I feel like me nitpicking about certain things, especially after a win, does no one any good. So I'm going to just leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts on tonight, this afternoon's game against Washington, and I will see you motherfuckers for our next game, whenever that is. I believe it's Tuesday, and I believe we play Vegas, so we'll see how that goes.